Today, we recap Project OG FXT. Welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again for the final installment of Project OG FXT. That's our 2004 Subaru Forester XT. And it's always a bittersweet moment, guys, when you wrap up a project. And yes, projects can be finished. It's just bittersweet because it's great to see a project actually get completed, but also sad to know that we're probably moving on to another project and it won't be in our life for too much longer. So that part's always sad, but let's celebrate what we've done. This Subaru Forester XT had a complete mechanical overhaul, some really big jobs in there that needed to be done, as well as the exterior, which needed a lot of beautification to get where it should be. So let's go ahead, let's go back to when this vehicle first rolled into the garage and hit some of the major projects we had to do. Let's get in the garage and review some film. Yeah. Here it is, our 2004 Subaru Forester XT manual. Now let's take a look at the exterior first. Pretty good shape. Again, factory condition vehicle. It does have over 200,000 miles. So you're gonna get your standard paint chips. The front end, super paint chippy. So I think I'm actually gonna redo this whole bumper because on this side it did take quite a little biff at one point, as you can see right there. So that's gonna be a complete sand down, primer, paint, build it back up kind of event. It'll really refresh the front end. Same with redoing these headlights. Perhaps. Same story in the rear. You can see here the paint is faded on this Subaru. Kind of like little trim piece here. This is that same kind of silver gunmetalish paint. We're gonna source and redo that, make it look nice. Another major exterior bummer is this cracked windshield. As you can see here, we have a horizontal crack going all the way across nearly the windshield, starting from this one point of impact. So we are gonna have to replace what is the OEM windshield, so that's kind of a bummer. I hate to replace OEM parts, but we've got to. It's just right there. You can see it when you drive, and I'm not a fan of that, especially since it is such a long crack. So a new windshield is gonna have to be put on the books. Let's pop the hood and see what makes this Forester so special. And it is not pretty under here. Pretty dirty, but it is stock, completely OEM, and we love that. So this is an EJ engine, a 2.5 liter dual overhead cam turbo application. You can see the little teeny top mount intercooler right here. This is what I like to see. I'd rather deal with a dirty stock engine bay than an aftermarket tweaked one that who knows who had their hands in it. Wow. Yep, stock, and that's the name of the game. Pretty hard to source one of these. We're gonna basically pull most of this apart because we are gonna do timing belt water pump. Obviously we'll replace valve cover gaskets, spark plugs, all those other wear and tear maintenance items. You know, there's a lot of stuff to be done in here. So obviously engine oil, air filter, new coolant, all that kind of fun stuff. This is what I'm talking about. When you can find one of these, especially nowadays in this kind of stock condition, it's really something challenging to secure. And we're gonna clean this all up wonderfully, aren't we, guys? You know how we do it here. First area we wanna check out, obviously the oil filter, oil pan area. You can see a little bit of oil residue on the filter. So I'm gonna, like I said before, check the housing, just make sure it's not leaking. Oil pan has some kind of older gunk on it. Nothing's really wet, definitely nothing dripping on the floor here. So we're looking good. Here's the beauty of California cars, 200,000 miles. Look how amazing this exhaust looks. It just, no rust at all. There's no rust on the car at all, which is fantastic. So I'm not seeing any leaks. Nothing looks really nasty. Not a lot of oil coming down the front of the engine. I think we're gonna be in a good situation here. I'm gonna do valve cover gaskets just because I don't think anyone's been in there for a while. But this is what I like to see. No rust, no corrosion. On this one, if you come over to the ball joint, let me zoom in so you can see it even better. It is perished. You can see the moisture around it. That's an indicator too that the grease has escaped. And you can see there is cracking on the rubber boot there. So we will be replacing the passenger side ball joint. Like I said, I have the record of the driver's side one being done, but this passenger one was not done. Probably was good looking at the time, and now it is not. So add that to our list of things to do. These are things you want to replace now before they become big drivability issues. One of the bigger mechanical issues that's going to need to be resolved on our Forester XT is the clutch pedal loves, and I'm sorry about the lighting, loves to stay depressed when you press it down, and I just got it to do it with my hand. You can simply pull it back up like that. That 9 times out of 10 is a clutch slave cylinder that needs to be replaced, so that is certainly going to be on our list of things to do. To greatly improve access to the valve cover on the passenger side of the vehicle, removing the airbox is a very good thing to do. Yep, just making this a lot easier of a job for us. If you're messing around with anything with different sized bolts that go in specific places, this is what I've been doing for a very long time and it works. As you can see, this is the valve cover bolts for the right side of the engine or passenger side. And also you can see that we are missing a bolt right here. So that kind of explains our valve cover leak on the passenger side. That's interesting, so I'm gonna source one of those. All right, with the hoses disconnected, all the bolts out, let's go ahead and remove this valve cover on the passenger side. There we go, up she comes. We've got our new gaskets installed on the valve cover with that RTV securing them in place. Now it's just time to put it back on the vehicle. I did want to show the cleaned up valve cover. It's not perfect. Just give it a quick little cleanup. It's the little things, remember guys? Let's go ahead and slap it back on the car. We're gonna go ahead and step up the difficulty here on the driver's side. As you can see, the valve cover gasket is buried down in there. We've already pulled our battery to create some room, but we still need more. This windshield washer reservoir is gonna be the next item we pull. But yep, we're gonna go ahead and pull that. We're gonna do something with these wires that you can see down in there. Disconnect those. One of these alternator wires is gonna go as well, just so we can get that access. You saw how cramped it was on the other side. With everything removed, we should be able to pull that valve cover out just like so. And boy, she needs a cleanup. We've got everything put together on the driver's side valve cover now. You can see the oil fill tube and the two hoses connected, and we have our coil packs all plugged in, ready to go. Everything's looking a lot cleaner than we started off, right? Remember, this was totally coated in oil and grease, and now it looks really good. Nice valve cover gasket, all there, all sealed up. In my quest to keep everything OEM, I've sourced the actual Subaru branded spark plugs. Now clearly they're NGKs, and I'll have the part number for you too. But I've sourced the actual Subaru ones, which is just super cool, hard to come by. But here's the NGK part number if you guys are looking for that. That's the actual NGK number if you're looking for that. The NGK ILFR6B. But let's go ahead and put these on. All right. Should be just as simple as picking it up and pulling the whole unit out. There we go, radiator out. Let's start with removing the alternator belt. You're gonna go belts on. So there's our belt. Pretty similar deal for the AC belt. And there's our AC belt. She takes a mighty lot of convincing, but it's good now. I used a 1/2-inch breaker bar. That seemed to do the trick. Should be able to turn her off by hand now. Pull that bolt free. Next up, we're going to reinstall the crank bolt, but not all the way down, just enough so we can turn the engine. 22mm socket again on there. Turn it with a ratchet to get all your marks to top dead center. Now, since we're not really sparing any expenses on this project, I want to show you guys what I got for the timing belt water pump kit. It is the ASIN TKF004, which is the specific kit for this car, a 2004 Forester XT manual. Let me show you what's in the kit. This is a pretty comprehensive kit. What you have in here, most importantly, is an ASIN water pump, a very important component. We're gonna put that on there. We did buy the OEM Subaru thermostat to put in, so we are gonna need that when we install it. So important stuff there. Under the wrapping, we have everything, a brand new tensioner, NTN. These are OEM equivalent or OEM parts, which is great. You've got every single pulley and idler that you're gonna need. Always replace these guys. Here's our new timing belt, fantastic. Yep, Mitsubishi, which is the OEM one. You can see it marked there. Got the old water pump next to the new water pump. Before I install the new water pump on the car, I'm gonna go ahead and install the thermostat housing with the new thermostat. Subaru OEM, don't mess around with this, guys. Just go with the safe bet. So the coolant I've elected to go with is gonna be our Subaru OEM long life coolant. Get as much as you can all over the engine, that's always nice. Go ahead and drink, baby. All right, I've got our fresh new slave cylinder to put in the car. You can see the OEM one there. There's the slave cylinder all installed. You can see there's a hose going to it. You're gonna have to fit a very tight fitting length of tube to that. You see my 8mm wrench is already on there to break it loose. This is very similar to bleeding brakes if you guys have done that. For this job, we're going OEM Subaru ball joint. You can see the part number there. We're also gonna be using a brand new cotter pin and a new castle nut. There we go. Woo! Old ball joint out. Yeah, that thing's old. And there you have it. A fresh new ball joint on our passenger side of our Forester XT. All right, 4 thick coats of clear coat, and we are looking exceptionally shiny on this front bumper. Looking real damn good.